Hello, buddy. This is Robert Hollis. I hope you're having a wonderful and blessed day. Thank you for plugging into my Periscope. Thank you so much for tapping and giving hearts, and also for coming on here and sharing it with your followers, your Twitter followers, and your Facebook followers. I really appreciate it. So I basically am just one of those people that was an average person that attempted some above average things, and I didn't even know what those above average things were until they got shared to me by a mentor. So here I am, an auto mechanic, so broke I can't pay attention. I say that all the time because it's so true. And all of a sudden what happened is when I surrendered, I opened my mind, I asked for help. That's where the $1 million question came from. I got introduced to my mentors. And when I got introduced to my mentors, they shared some incredible stuff with me. There's a lot of stuff that I share on all my Periscope and also on lifemechanic.com. And one of the first books I was asked to read was a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, one of the uniqueness about this book, and for those of you that want to reach out to me on lifemechanic.com or send me anything, I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link to the free book and the audios. And one of the things that my mentor told me when I read that is this whole concept of residual income and the power of leveraged income. Leveraged income. And that's going to be the title today. I'm going to cover residual income tomorrow. So leverage income, one of the uniqueness is when someone introduces you to a new idea, a new concept. One of the things that people don't realize is they should study what leveraged income is. And so sometimes when someone shares with you a new idea, a new buzzword, a new, kind of concept, then right away we go, wow, this must be the only place that it was. So when I first got introduced to it, it was through network marketing. It was through multi-level marketing, direct sales, whatever you want to call it, right? And so one of the uniquenesses about that is as I was learning how to be successful, I could introduce people to my mentor. And when I introduced people to my mentor and they turned around and learned also, some faster than me because everybody learns at different paces. Everybody has a different experiences, a different life journey. And some people actually learned faster than I did. They already were involved in the concept of not only leverage, but they were also involved in sales. One of the guys that I bring up all the time is Rick Velger. His father and his uncle owned the largest marina in Michigan on the Great Lakes. So Rick grew up around his father and also his uncle that were already multi-millionaires. So his culture, his environment grew up in a situation where, everything they did was leveraged. And I'll explain what that is in a second. Plus, also he had a name, he had money, he also had a center of influence. So when he got involved in the company that I was with, this kid, he was like 6 years younger than I was. When this kid got involved, I'm telling you, he went straight to the top of the company. Bam! I think he broke the record to what was called a national marketing director at that time. And it took me a little bit longer to get there. So the whole concept that I learned from leverage is when I could teach somebody else that wanted an abundance of lifestyle, freedom, and they wanted to make income and they wanted to leverage, that they could get involved in the company that I got involved in. And the leverage income that I got was from this kid being successful and going up the multi-level comp plan, and I generated revenue from that. That's called leverage. Now, please understand that that's not the only place it exists. So first, I want you to understand that there's two principles that you need to get involved in. One is leverage and one is residual. Now, let's talk on here of other places where you can get leveraged income. Now, Albert Einstein used to say this all the time, and I'm sure you can find the quote out there. But Albert Einstein said the compound interest on money should be the eighth wonder of the world. And if there's 8, it should be 9. But believe it or not, the number one way of leveraging your income is to be able to know people out there that could actually, put it in places where your income starts generating. Everyone that you talk to, from Robert Kiyosaki to now Tony Robbins that just came out with the book, or in the audio, the mastery of money. Everyone talks about this illusion that you need to find a way to get, which is your money making money. See, there's a huge difference between you working paycheck to paycheck at a job and having literal income. So the only money you make is by the hours that you put in. So literal, you don't work, you don't get paid. Now, I'm talking about a little bit about, the whole concept of, when you're out there and all of a sudden you got some vacation time, right? Or whatever. We're not talking about that. We're talking about you put in the hours, you get paid, right? So now the other concept again is, believe it or not, there's a book out there that's really, really successful, and it's called The Millionaire Next Door. And what The Millionaire Next Door is all about is people that you think are not multimillionaires are multimillionaires. And it's because they've figured out how to make their money work for themselves. So I did a Periscope that you can find on lifemechanic.com because I'm talking about wealth creation here. But one of the uniqueness is these individuals, instead of spending their money on things, so the whole title is What the Poor or the Poor Buy on Payday and What the Rich and the Wealthy Buy on Payday. And I'm talking about attitude. I'm talking about attitude more than anything. So when you first go out there, these people that have made millions and millions of dollars that have an incredible financial legacy have figured out how to get their money to work for them. Now, here's another aspect of leverage. Leverage is very simple when you go out there. And some people, now this doesn't work all the time, but you got to find a mentor that knows how to do it. But there's people out there like Robert Kiyosaki that understands the concept of actually, buying silver and gold. Now, if you're in a position in your life, and listen closely, where the stock market's flying all over, and sometimes you're not good with real estate, that you'll always notice when the economy seems to go down, or the dollar value goes down, the precious metals seems to go up. Now, again, that's leveraging. If you were able to buy, gold and silver at a decent price, and then it's going up, again, that's considered leverage. Why? Because your money's increasing in value on metals when, listen closely, when it goes up. Now, when the economy does good, guess what? Silver and gold goes down. So there's this deal where if you really learn from people like the book, the Money Masters that Tony Robbins did, you want a balanced portfolio. That usually means that when certain things go down, other things go up. There's this balance or ebb and flow that always happens. When the real estate goes down, sometimes the stock market goes up. And when the stock market and real estate goes down, then gold and metal goes up. So you want to be able to balance your portfolio between the things that are constantly going up and down. So when one thing's go down, the other goes up, and you're constantly in that situation. Now, for those of you that don't have money to invest, guess what? Now we're going back to the other part of leverage. Now, there's a lot of things that are leveraged, and let me share some of them with you. See, if you're a dentist, say for instance you're a dentist, when you get out of a doctor, a lawyer, when you get out of college, a lot of times you go get a job. See what I mean? And you work for somebody else. See, that's literal income. But if you know someone that then goes out and hires other dentists, see what I mean? And they have one dentistry, then they have another dentistry, then they have another dentistry, and they have other people that are working in those dentistries, and they turn around and do what? They have a manager that runs each one of them. Now you got leverage income. So you're a dentist, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, but you have other things that you have. You have other offices with other people working in them that create revenue. You see what I mean? So for some of you that have never played this game, and I'd like to see how many people played it, Robert Kiyosaki, when he came out years ago, he wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And when he wrote the book, he had a game that you could play called Cash Flow 101. Now, here's what's amazing. Me and my sons have played the game with my wife, Terry. And so I got that game really early in their lives. And what the game is, similar to Monopoly, is that instead of just hoarding your money and spending your money, you invest your money. And you could invest your money in a number of things. You could invest it in real estate, of course. Now, some people look at real estate as a liability if you do it wrong. And if you do it wrong, it's simply this. If your properties are not paying you, it's a liability. If your properties are paying you, like an apartment complex that, you got paid way down in all the apartments that are paying their rent every month, if that's a positive cash flow, that's a positive. Now, another one, believe it or not, when you play the game 101 is when you save your money, again, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. One of the favorite books I love is The Richest Man in Babylon. What you do is you save your money and then you start another business. You start another business. Now, if you start another business, that's leverage. Are you understanding? So I have a number of businesses. And so when I take my money and start another business, then I generate that business with positive cash flow. Now, over my entire career, there's businesses that I've done that didn't work. And I really love this phrase. I don't know who said it first, so I'm not going to give anybody credit, but I believe that it was Richard Branson. See, again, the environment and the culture that you get growing up in is what you usually know. So, in the United States, the goal is always, you'll notice this with network marketing companies. It's like, we want to be number one. We're the fastest growing. We're the biggest and the baddest. We got the best product, the best compensation plan, the best leaders. We're number one. Yay! We're number one. We're number one. We're the fastest company to $1 billion. Now, if you see that kind of hype, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's like, it's just like, it's all sales. Now you look at Richard Branson under the Virgin brand, Virgin Records, Virgin cell phones, Virgin Airlines, Virgin everything, right? Here's the concept that he had. He said, I'm not interested in being the biggest and the baddest. I just want like 100 companies that are doing $100 million each. Let that sink in. That's why Richard Branson is a multi-billionaire. He took the time to say, you know what? I just want a couple of percentages of that $1 billion industry. See, Richard Branson is not interested in any way, shape, or form of being the number one airline. He doesn't want to be the biggest. He just wants a couple of flights that fly to major cities, and he'll charge more for the tickets, but inside the aircraft, it's better service. It's higher quality seats. They got bars in them. They got beds in them. They got all these things that they can put into to make it more of a first class. He wanted to offer a higher rate of service to the 1 or 2% that not only would like it, but could afford it. So he's not interested in flying from Salt Lake City or Denver or Minneapolis to Billings, Montana. He doesn't want to compete on that one. But the flight from New York to LA, yeah, I'll do that one. Or the flight from LA to Hawaii, or LA to Paris, or LA to London. You see what I mean? So you got to understand that, he leverages because he thinks, wow, if airlines are making money, I'll do one of those. If cellular phones are making money, I'll do one of those. If records are doing well, I'll do one of those. If advertising's doing good, I'll do one of those. And see, he just dabbles in a lot of multiple streams of income, and he's similar to my mentor, Roger Penske. See, Roger Penske is diversified in everything. Here was his concept. He said, whatever I'm spending the most money on. So he looks at his books, right? And his accountants say, what are we spending the most money on? And then what he does is he becomes that middleman. So let me give you an example. First of all, one of Roger Penske's goals, and he's done it, is he turned around and he said he wants to be the _1 car distributorship in every make and model. So if you go to Las Vegas, you go to the Wynn Hotel, you're going to see the Wynn/Penske Ferrari dealership. Now, I used to work for the #1 car dealership in the world, and it probably still is, called Longo Toyota. At the time I worked there, it was 21 years in a row. It was the #1 car dealership in the world. Now, he said, where is the biggest cost that it cost me? And he got charged consistently for all the cars that got shipped to him. So what he did is he started Penske Trucking. Do you guys want to guess what trucking company ships his cars back and forth to his dealerships? Him. Then he bought a small company called Hertz. So when he had the largest purchaser of cars every year, the reason he became the number one dealer every year is he finds out where everybody is, and then he sells and ships cars to himself. Now, when you hang around somebody like this, you really get to see leverage. I'll give you one more thing, is there's a racetrack. He also owns the one in Michigan, the Michigan 500, but also he owns the one in Fontana, California. Now, get this, he does his research and finds out in Fontana, California, that there's this large place where there used to be the steel manufacturing plant. And the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, couldn't afford to clean this piece of property up. So they couldn't let anyone build on it. You couldn't do anything on it. And there was only two ways, $110 million to clean up this site. So there was only two things that you could do with this piece of property. One is dig all the dirt out, including the asphalt and concrete, and dispose of it. All right? Which they estimated $110 million. Or what if you could put a piece of concrete or asphalt that was 2 foot deep over the whole entire, I forget, it's like, I don't know how many acres. It's a 2.5 mile speedway. So I don't know how many acres it is. So Roger Penske goes to the EPA and he says, I'll buy this piece of property and I'll clean it up if you give it to me tax-free forever. Because it's going to cost me $110 million. And they're like, okay. So then he concretes and asphalts it over and turns it into a racetrack that seats 90,000 people. So it took only 2 races at this track for him to get his money back for building the track, and the rest is residual, tax-free. Tax-free. So now listen to one more step. So then when the race was over, he would go to all the Girl Scouts, the local churches, the Boy Scouts, the soccer teams. He would go to every one of them, and he would give them a section of the bleachers to clean up. And so he said that they would do it way better than any people he would hire. And when they cleaned it up, then he would give them $10,000 or $20,000 as a tax deduction to donate to someone tax-free that he gets the write off. So I hope that you guys are understanding that leverage is huge, because I'm one of those individuals that consistently was talking about network marketing being leverage. And it is, but there's so many other ways that you can leverage your income. And so I want to close this Periscope out by saying this one thing, is I learned recently in the last 6 months of how you can build leverage in doing blogging. Okay, now watch this. I'll talk tomorrow about residual income. So let's just say that Melody Riba that's on here. I just love this lady. So what I do with Melody Riba is as I build my blog and I build my following of people, then what I do is I help Melody do the same thing. Now, as she goes out there and she starts earning an incredible income like me, then I do it with her, I do it with Flora, I do it with Lisa, I do it with Doug, I do it with Scott, I do it with Donna, I do it with Gil, I do it with all these people, right? And then what we do is now we turn around and help each individual, Vinny, and we help them create a product. Now, when they create a product and they launch that product, all right, then we plan it to be launched not when the other people are launching the product. So as Melody goes out there and launches her product, now guess what? We all, I, Vinny, you know what I mean? Flora, Gil, Lisa, all of us then participate and leverage to help sell Melody's product. So her product does hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales. She splits an affiliate commission with us, so she could do like 500,000 and then turn around and gives 250,000 to us. Well, then the next month, who do? We do Vinny. The next month we do Lisa. The next month we do Gil. The next month we do Doug. So when you see this, as I've been studying it, you know, not only has someone like Ray Higdon, you know, made millions and millions of dollars from his blog, but now he's got other people that have successful blogs and following. And when they turn around and launch products, they all launch each other's products, all making additional income and now doing two things. One is leverage. The second is residual, and that's what I'll talk about tomorrow. So, you know, it's neat for me to look at other arenas that I know that are making trillions of dollars. Did you hear me? Trillions of dollars. Online education. Online education, digital education is a multi-trillion-dollar business. And I'm not just going to sit by and watch other people make millions and millions and millions of dollars like Tony Robbins and Brendan Burchard and Frank Kern and Eben Pagan and Jonathan Budd and Ray Higdon and Mike Dillard. All these guys are making millions of dollars by doing something that I know I can do and I know that you can do. All right? So I'm looking for a group of people that I can show as I'm learning and paying tens of thousands of dollars to go to these seminars, and I love teaching what I learn. So if you have any interest in that, you can just reach out to lifemechanic.com, hook up with one of the people that are down here that's with you, and I'm looking at taking a whole group of people with me, and this does not mean, listen closely, this does not mean you got to stop what you're currently doing. I'm not. You know what I mean? So I hope each and every one of you enjoyed this. Think about with your mind. You guys have heard me say this in my other Periscopes. Before I do anything, I say, is this duplicatable? Will this duplicate the other filters I run through because of my mentor? Because of my mentor. Can I figure out how to teach others how to do this so that they can generate income and I can generate income and I can teach them how to teach other people so they can get leverage? See? And the other one tomorrow is residual, because making money is fun. Making money is a blast. But if you don't have the time to enjoy it, if you don't have the time to make incredible decisions, if you don't have time to give it away and help other people, then working hard for money doesn't make sense. If you guys really understand leverage and residual, you gotta be good at explaining it. Because if you guys don't know, a lot of people that you're talking to, the people that grew up in environments and cultures, and this is the way they think, the way I used to think. If someone's making 60 grand a month, then they have to be working 10 times, 15 times harder than me. So here's where you guys get that mentality when people go, I don't have time, because they don't understand leverage and they don't understand residual. And they go, I don't want to work that hard. See, I barely have enough time for me. I don't own my own life now. I hardly see my spouse. I hardly see my kids. I don't get any vacation time. If I'm making $50,000 right now and you're making that a month, then I got to work 12 times harder than that. See, so don't get in their head about you can do this more than you got to make them understand leverage and residual. Now when all of a sudden they get to, oh, wow, I never thought about that. Similar to a real estate broker versus a real estate franchise owner versus a person that owns RE/MAX. Got it? So you got to switch these paradigms in your mind, because if you don't, you're not going to go after the right people. You're not going to seek out leaders. See, you're going to find a bunch of people that don't know the concepts that you haven't learned and mastered yet. And then it just becomes struggle. And it's not any fun. You spend a lot of time and you don't make any money. So I hope this helped you guys. Share this with people that say, have you ever heard of leverage? Yeah. Are you currently using leverage? I don't know what leverage is. Listen to this guy. He's made $46 million. He's helped 46 people make over $1 million a year. Listen to this guy, because then they get to think, wow, I like this leverage stuff. I should have leverage in my life. Do you know how to get leverage? I do. See? That's the way my mentor taught me. And tomorrow we'll talk about residual income, the power of residual income. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you did. Really, the only people that know true residual and true leverage income are people that have already created it. Ask them if they got it. I ask people, I know I stopped, but listen to this one really quick. I always say to people all the time, well, I'm an expert. I'm a professional in network marketing. And I go, really, why? Why are you an expert? If you were putting on the stage or you were putting in a court, and the prosecutor, the defense attorney standing there, and you raise your hand and you say, I'll tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. Great. You say you're an expert in leverage and residual. Uh-huh. Tell me why. Why? Why are you an expert? What kind of documentation do you have that makes you an expert? Let me ask you a question. Sure. Do you currently have anyone in your organization and group that makes a full-time income, say $50,000, $60,000 plus, in their business that you're currently getting residual off? Or leverage off? No, I don't have anybody I've ever taught how to get a full-time income. Then you don't understand leverage. So, I'm one organization. I have 9 people that made over $1 million a year. That's leverage, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Documentation beats conversation. Check out that domain. It goes to lifemechanic.com. Thank you for the hearts. I love and appreciate you guys. My goal is to help each and every one of you get it. You know what I mean? Because then you'll be looking at everything. You go, I'm not interested. People say all the time, hey, you want to invest in this investment? I go, what's the residual? What's the leverage? Oh, if you own 10% in a company that's successful like Uber, that's leverage. Thank you very much. God bless. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.